Just there's going to be a period of your life that you lose money. The way that you manage that situation really determines a lot. Did you learn anything from it?
And sometimes things are it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily impact who you are as a person. Like it shouldn't. I know
shouldn't,
it can.
yeah.
Like I can. It's the same thing when people people lose their jobs and they feel this level of like almost like doubting even like their wisdom or even doubting like their skills and all of these things. And I'm like, sometimes it's just the job market. Sometimes things are just not working out right now.
Yeah.
And they could in the future. So I think it's that emotional decoupling from it, actually taking yourself out of it.
Most things don't, succeed the first time, right? So I think that's the key is don't be too cautious where then you're not able to take risk anymore. Welcome back to the Years Ahead podcast.
Okay.
My name is Dio.
My name is Aura.
We've missed you guys.
We've
missed you guys. We've been off camera for what, a week, 2 weeks now?
I feel like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Oh my gosh.
But remember also, we also had the live.
We had the live, yes.
And honestly, like that was so good.
Yes.
Like having the interaction, I think having like honest conversations, but also having like fun topics, I think was also pretty cool. So that was good. Like, and you guys actually got like our live, no editing, no filtering, nothing. Like honest reactions. Yeah. And it was great.
I think we should do more of that actually.
We should.
Yes.
We should. And I feel like we would. I think another thing we said we're gonna do at another live is do more lives and hopefully bring our audience in.
Exactly.
And hopefully we can hear from you guys. Maybe we can ask some questions.
Yep.
We can get some dilemmas, maybe do some finance auditing, finance budgeting. Just do a bunch of fun stuff. I think, like we said, this is a community. So it's more than just both of us recording, but like bringing our audience in as well and making this like, a family kumbaya. So
for sure. We're excited about today though.
Yeah.
Fun topic, but also a little serious, right? So a lot of people that I talk to these days, a good number of people, maybe actually a lot of people, are, coming out of some type of loss. They've invested in something that's lost a lot of money. They bought something that's now worth very little compared to what they paid for it. Some people even got scammed, right? So a lot of people are feeling the burnt. And of course, the economy right now is not the friendliest. Yeah, exactly. So it just kind of feels like you guys are talking about all these things on the podcast. I'm really still trying to like recover from, this loss. And for some people, it's like all they had. I had someone tell me that they had saved up, this many tens of thousands, and then they, invested in the business, and they thought the business was going to go well, and it's all gone now. So not only do they not have a saving, they had, somehow also in the process don't have a job, and now everything is just gone. And I know people are also losing money to crypto. I don't know what you're hearing these days.
Yeah, I feel like the loss aspect. I feel like I think we were talking about this even earlier. It's like I feel like I'm here to say this maybe a lot more than usual.
Yeah.
But it's what you said in terms of like when the economy seems tougher, the loss weighs heavier.
Yeah.
Like it's people feel it more because the upside, like, expenses are higher.
Yeah.
This is higher, that is higher. And so I feel like that's what's happening. But you know what? Let me give you a scenario and then we can get into like what the topic is. So imagine if you invested 20,000, we're in July. Let's say you invested 20,000 in January.
Yeah.
And then this month you open up wherever you invested the money in, it could be, maybe into the stocks, into crypto, like you said, maybe into like a business, whatever. And now it's valued at 8,000. So I'm going to give you three options. You can only pick one option.
Only pick one. Okay.
Only pick one.
Yeah.
So do you either like sell what's left, like sell the 8,000?
Yeah.
Do you hold on to the 8,000? Or
when you say hold on to, like just see if it rebounds.
Leave it. Yeah.
Okay.
See if it hopefully goes back up.
Okay.
Or do you actually just, invest even more? And people say maybe like this is the dip.
Okay.
So like now I want to, people say on social media, I'm buying at a discount.
Yeah.
And so they add more money in.
Yeah.
So like what option? And let's just imagine that it's actually a stock. Maybe that would give a better.
So it's a stock.
Yes, it's a stock. You thought it was going to do well. You put $20,000 into it. Now it's June, July. You're seeing 8,000. Are you thinking to yourself, oh wow, this is a discount. Let me add more money and it'll go back up.
First of all, that's a 50%. Actually, that's about a 70% loss.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be wise to keep.
Okay.
Or invest more without reason. Okay?
Exactly. Okay.
So, you have to really understand, like, what's going on. Because we've talked about the fact that, people just going to go invest because my brother said, or my friend said, or that person on the internet said. Why did you invest, and what was the investment? Do you really have conviction about the company or whatever it is that you put your money into? So I think that's really going to decide, what my choice is. I don't think there's like one answer, quite honestly. But just giving that drastic sort of deep or drop, reinvesting more is not wise. I don't know. Again, except with reason. Except, you have very good reasons to believe that a company that dropped 50% in the space of 5 months, 6 months, is worth you, putting money into. So it might be best to cut your loss at that point, right? But again, like I said, it really would depend on the conviction that you have, right? So that's what it is. But if you're not as risk averse as some other people, like if you really believe in stuff, maybe you can leave it to see if it bounces back. I just don't know if like putting in, because people will talk about dollar cost averaging and all that stuff. I don't know. I think it will have to really depend. But I think maybe we can get into this, because I think that's a very good question that you asked. Is a lot of people have put money into something that maybe it's a stock, maybe it's a business, maybe it's some real estate investment, right? And now it just feels like it's either all gone, or it looks like it's evaporating in the front. It's like, okay, what do I do? Like, how do I get back? Because the truth is, for a lot of people, especially immigrants, like when that happens to you, it also affects your self-esteem. And depending on where you are in your life, as a younger person, I'd like to hear how people you think people would deal with that at a young age. But the more you grow older, or maybe in your career or whatever, it's like, okay, am I going to ever make this type of money? Does this then define me? Someone who lost $40,000, for example, I was telling you, this person told me, they saved up this money. And it took them time to save it up. And for them, it's like, okay, let me go use this for this business opportunity. And maybe it can turn into, more money, double, triple, whatever. Or maybe just this carves a path for me to then focus on for the rest of my life. And it just kind of fails. So how do you get out of that? I mean, what are your perspectives?
I think the very first step, and it's kind of what you're touching on right now, is emotional decoupling.
Yeah.
Separating the loss from who you are, your identity, and from just yourself. Sometimes people have done the research. They've done the, asking people for their advice. They spoke to people who are in that industry. And sometimes things just don't work out.
Yeah.
And there's an aspect, I feel like if you read a lot of books about people who make it, there's an aspect to which, yes, hard work is important.
Yeah.
Yes, doing the research is important. But sometimes luck plays a part.
Yeah.
And sometimes things it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily impact who you are as a person. It shouldn't. I know it can. Yeah. It's the same thing when people when people lose their jobs and they feel this level of almost doubting even their wisdom, or even doubting their skill and all of these things. And I'm sometimes it's just the job market. Mm-hmm. Sometimes things are just not working out right now. Yeah. And they could in the future. So I think it's that emotional decoupling from it, actually taking yourself out of it. And sometimes it could even reveal maybe things that you didn't spot.
Yeah.
Maybe your blind spot was maybe you actually didn't do research about this specific thing properly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's that emotional decoupling. Mm-hmm. If not, leads into things like depression, you're seeing and a lot of times, I think in our culture, and I'm sure it affects men and women, but I think sometimes men even take these things worse. Because when you've grown up in a culture where you're told to be the provider, where you're told to, you provide for your family, you do this, you do that, when that sort of income is taken away, for that kind of person, for example, where you've saved up money for you to build this business, you're probably thinking long term, this is where I want to spend my time. Yeah. And then now maybe you've quit your job so you could focus on this. And then now you're also out of the 40K. I can only imagine just how distraught that kind of person can be. So I think emotional decoupling is probably the best, just to be safe mentally and also maybe to kind of reassess where everything is at.
No, I think you're absolutely right. It's difficult though. It's very difficult, but the truth is you cannot move forward right until you decouple that just emotionally. Because to the point that you made, it could be, networking. It just, people would be like, where do I even start from?
Yeah.
Right. And the thing about this thing is somehow maybe it's reality, maybe it's your mind. You start to then think like it's not going to be easy for me to do this again.
Yeah.
Like where do I even start from? Maybe life was easier when you raised $40,000 or $20,000 or $100,000. People have lost a lot of money, right? So maybe times were different.
Yeah.
But now, not only have you lost the money, the economy is just not the greatest, right? And so, but to really move forward, I think it's important for people to know that your self-esteem is not tied to that, right? Your person is not tied to the fact that you lost money. And to the point that you made, and maybe that leads to the second point is, what can you learn? Right. So what can you learn? Meaning, like, what's the root cause for why this happened?
Yes.
Did you not do your due diligence? Right.
Yeah.
Did you go in and invested in something that you weren't really sure of?
Yeah.
Or did you go into partnership with the wrong people? Right. Because that's also a thing where it's like, you have conviction that this is good. Yeah. You have conviction that this is a way to go. But then you went into it with the wrong person who didn't have the same motives as you or the same, sort of mindset.
Or even determination.
Or determination, right?
Yeah.
So, or was it just the fact that things just changed, so things out of your control? Because that happens sometimes too. And what's interesting is the point that you made around culturally, people then, when that happens, there's a tendency for them to say, you know what, I need to prove this situation wrong.
Yes.
Or I need to prove the people wrong. Or I need to quickly get out of this thing.
Let me show them I actually can
exactly.
do it.
Let me show them, even show myself, I can do this thing. And then when people are not careful, they double down. And then they lose more money. Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or they immediately give up. Because that's the other thing. Let's say you lost that money in a business. So let's say you were starting, I don't know, a cleaning business, or you're starting a coaching business, whatever that business is, and then you lost the money. And then immediately some people will say, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And then the reason why they failed, they take that into another thing without fixing why they failed. See what I'm saying? Yeah. So in a lot of cases, it might not even be the business. It might be some, just tendencies that you have or proclivities, call them whatever, like that you have that you needed to check before you took that into another business. Because I've seen someone who said, people do this with careers a lot, or even businesses, like they start something. Yes. It's like, oh yeah, so the odd thing right now is I'm going to go take a training to be a DevOps engineer. And they do that for 3 months. They don't really do well. And then maybe they lose the job. And it's like, okay, maybe that's not for me. And then they go start another one and spend money to get trained. People do that in businesses too, with investment.
From career to career.
Exactly.
To career.
It's like, oh yeah, options trading is the thing. People have lost a lot of money to options trading.
Yeah.
Especially in the last year. And then they say, oh, option trading is not the thing. And then they take the money and then go invest in crypto or some small business. And then they still lose the money. Yeah. While what they should have done is reassess, like back. Why, right? Yeah. I mean, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so I definitely think it's that. Sometimes it's like, and I really like what you said about the mindset thing, right? Where you start something, maybe things don't work out well, and then it's let me just quit and move on to something else. Yeah. And so what happens is when you don't take that step back to reassess and really figure out what is the root cause of this failure, you tend to just repeat the same thing over and over again. And it can go either way. You can either start to think maybe the problem is within myself and try to fix that, or you just begin to just blame everybody else but yourself. Yeah. The business did not work out because the economy is bad. The business did not work out because I was with the wrong partners. The business did not work out because the timing was wrong. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the problem could just be something within yourself that you just haven't assessed yet.
Exactly.
And so I definitely do think it's taking a step back and actually trying to figure out what the root cause is. Yeah. And that could either reveal something within yourself that needs to be changed, or maybe something about the business that you probably didn't think about that you probably have to go back and reassess. And just because something failed in one season doesn't mean it can't succeed in another. Yes. And so when you go back and you actually reassess, and maybe it's for example, a restaurant business that you opened that didn't end up working out. It could be the location. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it could even just be that maybe it wasn't priced right. Maybe you didn't think about who your target audience is or should be. And so I feel like there are many things that could happen. But I think after that should be going back to the basics. Yes. Right? Because it's that because people who are losing money in certain things, sometimes I wonder if they even knew what these things were. You're losing money in crypto, but you jumped on it because your other guy friend said that let's just all just put money into this thing. you invested in real estate with your friend. You didn't even research, what the property is. You didn't research, okay, what will be the ROI? All your guys are telling you, let's put money to this thing, and then you dump your money in there. And then in a few months, things go left. And what happens is like, sometimes because it's with your guy friends, everybody's trying to like, not show that like this really hurts.
Yeah.
But it actually hurts.
It does hurt. I've been there.
It hurts a lot. And so it's like, if you don't go back and reassess, you keep making, because those friends will come back again next year with another real estate property. Oh, this time around, maybe it's in a different state, and they make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you don't really go back and reassess, like, okay, you know what, maybe this is not the right group of friends to do it with. Or maybe, you know what, maybe we need to actually sit and actually find out, like, actually discuss the details of this transaction. Like, what does it actually look like? So I think definitely is root cause. But after that, it's definitely going back to the basics.
It's going back to the basics.
Just going back to not like high risk, like you're trying to just get reward quickly. And I think we've spoken about the fact that, like, things that take time, obviously, like sometimes there's good reward in that. Like there's a reason why we invest in the stock market, and it's not giving us a 50% return every year.
Yeah.
But we know that guaranteed every year we're making 10%, and over time that continues to accumulate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I think one thing, as we kind of deep dive into the going back to the basics is everyone, or at least people, should understand that most people will lose money at some point in your life. Yeah. You're going to lose money in some business. In some investment, you're going to lose money in endeavors. Just there's going to be a period of your life that you lose money. The way that you react, the way that you sort of manage that situation really determines a lot. Because there are people who will lose money, and to the point that you made earlier is, did you learn anything from it?
Yeah.
It really, really would determine like how do you move past that to even, going back to the basics. So I think that's something that people need to understand. And the fact also that people don't talk about losses.
Oh, yeah.
And so because people don't talk about losses, it's easy for people to feel like, oh,
it's just you.
It's just me.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone is showing their wins, and nobody's talking about their losses or where they make the mistake and all that stuff. So I think that's easy. But when you realize that, and you know that, okay, I'm not in this alone, right? It means that there is learning out there to have, right? So then once you've done that, once you're very certain about this is why this failed, then you go back to the basics, meaning, and the basics can be different depending on where you are, right? So let's say you're someone in your mid-20s or late 20s, and you've saved up $30,000, and that's all your savings, and then that's all gone right now. You still have a job, but you're not saving as much. Go back to the things that help you save that in the first place. Go back to budgeting.
Yeah.
Go back to watching your spending.
Yeah.
Go back to, those foundational things.
Yeah.
Well, if you're in a different situation in your life, so let's say you're maybe more advanced in your career, and while this is a lot of money that you've lost, it didn't really put you in
set you back so much.
Exactly, set you back so much. It's still an opportunity for you to go back and say, okay, did I do my due diligence properly?
Yeah.
Like, what are the fundamentals to, like the point that you made? Am I in the right space? Was my mindset right? Did I go in with the right people? Do I know about this, or was I just chasing, a hype and that type of stuff? So I think it's really kind of going back to those types of things to make sure that not only are you learning, but you're not making the same mistake again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's even more painful to know that you could have learned the first time, but now you have to learn the second time or the third time.
Exactly.
That's even more and more painful. And I think another thing is like not to focus on the optics.
Yeah.
Because loss can it can take someone down a lot.
It can.
But I think it's just sticking with the path that you said,
Yeah.
going back to this, like the basics, but also not letting the outside noise kind of get to you.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe even what you think people are perceiving you as. Like, and I think one thing I'm trying to learn is that like people are not really thinking about us as much as we think they are.
Yeah.
Like people really are not.
People
like,
have their own lives.
On their mind.
Yeah.
Like they're not thinking about the fact that, oh, Ora did this. Like no one is really thinking and saying that and thinking about that throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I think really understanding that, like, this journey is yours.
Yeah.
And taking back the time to, like you said, the budgeting, like you said, the going back to the basics and actually just focusing on that. Like the outside noise, I know it can be loud.
Yeah.
but it really isn't like the most important noise at all. It is not.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think that point about, people don't really care as much as you think they do. It's both ways.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yesterday I spoke to someone on the phone who had lost a family member. And right after I got off that call, I got another call for something that was completely different. And then I was out today earlier, and of course, this person is part of my community, and I can see that every other person in that community is doing their own things. Of course, they sympathize with the person, but it's just like, unfortunately, life goes on. You see what I'm saying? So I think it's important to recognize that that's really what it is. Like people don't really care about the optics that you're trying to prove them, to say, I have to make this work. I have to do this. This is how I have to deal with this. So I think it's always important. I think one other thing is, do not let that loss cause you to stop. So that's one thing that I've seen with a lot of people is someone who has a lot of drive. They have a lot of enthusiasm about like opportunities, and they're learning and they're doing all these things, and then they run into that financial loss, and then they stop. Maybe it really didn't affect them emotionally as much, but to them it's just like, it's not worth it. I'll just be regular as every other person, right? I'll just keep my 9 to 5. What's the point of trying to, invest?
But don't you think that reaction is an emotional one? And maybe they just didn't realize it, because to think that because something didn't work, to go back to something that you were hoping to get out of.
Yeah.
It's an emotional reaction.
It is, and you're absolutely right. So maybe to them, the emotional reaction wasn't, doubting of their esteem or getting down. It's just, I'm just going to choose a different path, right? So it shouldn't cause you to stop, right?
Yeah.
But continue, not necessarily with caution, but with more calculation and more knowledge, right? So I think that's the key is, don't be too cautious where then you're not able to take risk anymore or do other things. But be a little more guarded, learn, right?
Yeah.
Approach opportunities with more knowledge, because knowledge builds confidence. I think we've talked about that before is, know a little more, but don't let that cause you to stop. Because the truth of the matter is most things don't, succeed the first time. Unfortunately, some people would have to lose money. Some other people just fail. They don't lose money, right? So they still keep their money intact. Some other people have to lose money, but success is in repetition in a lot of the cases. I
really like what you just said about proceed more with calculation.
Yeah.
Because I think what can happen, and it's kind of what you touched on, is then you don't want to even deal with that at all.
Yeah.
Like I'm even thinking back now to myself when I first started investing, and it was just like, whatever anybody talked about, I would put my money into it. I don't even need to even know. Just tell me the ticker symbol. Let me just put it in. Let me hit buy. Like I wasn't even like, I want to let me do research. And so I think what happened is when I took my first few losses, I was like, what's going on? I thought this was going to be an up game, I thought I was going to be up totally. And so I think my reaction to that, and for a while I did react this way. I just stopped. I was like, there's if this is not going to give me guaranteed success, I don't want to be involved in it. I just want to just not deal with this again. And so funny enough, what I had to actually do was open up a whole new account. And this time around, it's what you said, the calculation. Actually, everything I invest my money in today, I can literally tell you what is behind it, why I chose to do it this way, why I allocate this percentage to it. So actually going back and doing the calculation, I feel that's what's helped me now. So even now, I've seen a couple red days recently, but the hits is not as
not as bad
because I know for a fact it's going to go back up. I know it, but that's because I know what I'm putting my money into. The same way, if it was a business that you're putting your money into, and let's say it doesn't end up going well, if you actually go back with calculation, you can actually definitely find where the blind spots were, and maybe even go back into that same business, maybe even put it somewhere else. Maybe you open it up in a different location. Maybe you do something else differently with it. But I think that's the key point is don't, because of loss, stop trying to challenge yourself and open new things. But instead let that be a way for you to look at things differently, a new level of wisdom. And I know it's easier said than done. I'm sure somebody who's down 40K is not thinking to themselves, oh my God, I want to figure out what the wisdom in this thing is. But it's what we said about sometimes you need to also take out time and actually like feel the loss.
Yeah.
Like 40K took you a while to build.
It did,
And now
yes.
it's gone in a split second. Maybe it's
Yes.
gone in a few months or in a
Yes.
few days. Like it can almost feel like I worked so hard for this and now it's out of my hands, out of my control. But I think it's definitely taking out the time, like we said, to, and then doing the emotional decoupling, like, and then reassessing. And like you said, using those calculations to kind of like figure out like, what the next thing is.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So I think we mentioned this on the live, and I think a lot of people should go back because that's recorded. It's on the YouTube page. Is I've not been very successful with like individual stock investment.
Yeah.
I've actually lost more money investing in individual stocks.
Yeah.
But that hasn't stopped me from investing, right? I'm still investing as aggressively as I can. I'm just not putting all my eggs in one basket or putting a lot of my eggs in one basket. So I'm diversifying as much as I can, placing my bets on high conviction, low risk type asset classes. So I think it's important to do that, but also just let your pain push you to do better. Let your pain push you to do better. Don't let it, we're saying the same thing, but don't let it just cause you to, go back into your shell. The rebuilding process is going to be painful.
Oof.
It's going to be slow.
Yeah.
It's going to be boring, right? But you just have to go through it. You have to go through it. There's no easy way. Like, people will wish, I lost it in 2 months. I probably can make it back in 2 months. You probably will not make it. Yeah. You probably will not make it back in 2 months. You probably will make it back in 2 years. But, it's a boring game to get back on your feet when you lose that much money, especially, maybe someone who's much younger has the appetite to go take risk in other places and maybe, the reward for the risk is high, right? But for someone who has maybe built their life to a point and they've taken all their savings and they've lost it, just know that it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to take some time to rebuild, but you can rebuild. And to the point that we're making where it'll take time.
Yeah.
Right. So people will need to be very conscious of the need to prove very quickly.
Oh, yes.
Or to want to like quickly,
Get it back.
like I have to make this back quickly. I have to do this quickly. Not saying, man, there are people who lost money and then they were able to like get it back very quickly. But for the most part, you need to be disciplined.
Yeah.
Because with every loss, if you were to think about it very well, there might be some lack of discipline in some places. Not all the time. Not all the time. But if you're very, honest with yourself and you introspect and really look at what really happened, you might sense in some cases maybe you made the decision too soon or too hastily, right? And you really weren't cautious in some cases. So I think it's do that to fight the urge. Like let the pain of what you just lost cause you not to go try to make the same mistake. Again, don't stop. Don't stop. Continue, rebuild, but don't feel the urge to prove anybody right.
Yeah.
Don't feel the urge to show people that, yes, I can rebound. It is you and you in this game, right? So to the point you made earlier, a lot of people don't care.
Yeah, and I think my question to that person would be like, yes, you lost the money in possibly a short period of time.
Yeah.
But it took you a while for you to get it back.
Yeah.
So why do you think now you should get it back quicker than you did before?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and it's just the way money is. Losing money, even spending money, it's like, it goes like this. And then it's the working for it that takes a while.
Yeah.
And that is just the principle of how money works.
Yeah.
But I think it's not trying to like you said, double down on things and lose them.
Yeah.
But I think one question I was going to ask you, because you said someone did call you about this, is like when someone is in that situation and they let you know, like how should you like kind of help somebody out when it comes to something like this?
So
like
it's
as a friend, even
it's
as
a
family.
great question that you ask because people are in the loss sometimes is very different. Yeah. I know another person who lost $40,000 in someone they were considering to get married to. I'll tell you how that happened.
Please.
So this person has saved up money. They met this person who seemed like a potential great life partner. Everything was going well. They got introduced. And then the person needed financial help with school and part of a business that they were building. Not knowing that this person actually was preying on the person who called me. Yeah. They knew that this person had some means and then they just wanted to quote unquote, like swindle them. So that's a loss. Now, that's not a loss in a business.
Oof.
That's not a loss in an investment. That's a loss in
Because you trusted someone.
Exactly. So it kind of would depend, because that type of person, you don't really tell them that, build with caution or be disciplined. No, like this is matters of the heart where they felt like this was going to be. So I think it would really depend, right? In cases where maybe someone was just, financially irresponsible, it's easier to say these are the blind spots. Like, you shouldn't have done this. Like, next time, like I said, don't put all your money into Nvidia because people thought, or into Tesla. They might be right. It just might be late, right? So in those cases, that you can tell the person. In some other cases, maybe people are just reckless, right? So they're starting a business and they didn't think about the fact that this business would need money to run. And so the money they actually lost is not because the business didn't do well. They just didn't do the calculation correctly. And so they were burning faster than the business could make money. And then all of a sudden they're like net zero, right? So there could be situations like that. So for that type of person, don't quit the business. Just have better, finances around, what it is, right? So I think it will really depend. But it's a difficult conversation to have. I've been through it, so I can relate with some of those things. I've lost money investing with people. I've lost money investing in the wrong things. I've lost money in different ways, but I've also made money, right? And at least I can share the things that have helped me, which are some of the things that we're sharing here.
Yeah.
Consistency, auto investing, like those types of things. So I think it really just depends, but it's never an easy conversation, right? So I don't want people to feel like we're just sitting there and saying, yes, just bounce back, do this. It's not easy, because for some people, it could really be devastating.
Yeah.
Especially for folks who have a lot of responsibility on their shoulder. They have a family, they have themselves, they have extended family. Like, everyone is looking up to them. And now they have to rebuild, but the responsibilities are still there.
It's still there.
So I think that's something that we just need to be conscious of is people would face this very differently, but it's important to follow the steps that you made. So if you're out there, you've gone through a loss recently, financial loss, maybe tied to a business and investment, it's important that, number one, you decouple, emotionally, right? Make sure that's not you. That's not who you are. It doesn't define you. It doesn't define your person. It doesn't define your esteem. Number two is going back and really, what caused this? What's the root cause, right? Sometimes it's truth that you have to accept.
Sit with, You
just have to deal with it. It's like, okay, truly, maybe I messed up. And sometimes it's not as easy. So it's those types of things, but also it's then going back to say, rebuilding. Don't stop. Rebuild with calculations. What are your closing thoughts?
Yes, please. So I definitely think it's all of what you just said.
Yeah.
And definitely because I can just picture people in my life who have had loss financially, and how much that really affected the identity, even just who they are as a person, how they show up to people. And I'm just saying that the emotional decoupling part is very, very important. And I know sometimes men, and especially in my culture, can think oh, we're not emotional beings.
Yeah.
But a loss happens, and then now they can't eat. Now they're sad and all these things. So I think it's really trying to really, really emotionally decouple. And I think after that, if you have a good head on your shoulder, you can always rebuild. It's always possible. I think I was looking at the stat of when people become billionaires or millionaires, and it's they're not 22. And I think social media these days makes us think that everybody's already a millionaire and you're the only one that has $1,000 in your account. But it's no, a lot of people are still trying to build up. So it's always possible. And it doesn't matter the age, the time, or the circumstance. As long as you can take your time, I believe wealth can always be rebuilt.
Yeah. So we totally sympathize with anyone who's going through a financial loss right now. I've been through it. I mean,
I've been through
you've been through it. We know people are going through it right now. So if you're out there going through a loss, sympathize with you, stay hopeful. Stay optimistic, right? To the point that you made, if you have a good head on your shoulder, you can always rebuild. It's going to be painful. It's going to be slow. It's going to be boring. But there is, light at the end of the tunnel. There's more opportunities. The universe will reverse your consistency for sure.
I've never heard that before. That was good.
Yeah, no. The universe does reward consistency and anomaly. Right, that's for another day. But, keep doing it, keep driving, keep hope alive.
Yeah, thank you all for listening. And definitely, we'll love to see you on the next episode.
For sure. And please do put your comments in. Let's know what you're going through.
Please.
If you've gone through a loss, if you know someone who's going through a loss, if you have any questions or any comments, definitely let us know. Both on this YouTube, social media, all these, everywhere these days. So Make sure to drop your comments. Let's also know if there are other things that you want us to talk about, right?
Oh, definitely. And hopefully we can see you on our next live and even on the next episode.
Yes.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.